From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, fill out a Sightlines report if you're experienced, and read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, which is updated daily. Much more coming soon. Tonight's show is brought to you by the Mighty Moose Beard Oil Company. It's 100% Canadian, 100% natural, taking care of beards around the world. Visit MightyMooseBeard.com. Don't forget to use promo code SOR 2019 today. There's UFOs in the sky, but where are they? More importantly, where are they coming from, and who's flying them? This is part of a great debate in ufology, as those in the field tend to believe we are moving ever closer to the big D, that is disclosure. Are we close? Personally, I don't think so, but we're trending in the right direction. Researcher and filmmaker Rob Freeman will be in Toronto, Ontario, September 20th to 23rd for the Alien Cosmic Expo, where both he and I, among others, have been invited to speak and tell our stories. Rob was just 12 years old when he saw something unexplainable above the roof of his parents' house with a self-made skywatching kit. 50 years later, he's traveled all around the world, 10 countries, 30 cities, looking for UFOs. In 2015, he formed CSSAA, the Center for the Scientific Study of Atmospheric Anomalies, and is an active in-the-field researcher. Alongside the Making Contact project team, Rob is connecting to experts around the world and documenting his extensive experiences, all within this new phase of ufology. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Mr. Rob Freeman, always a good time to have a chance to have a guy like you on this show. You're very experienced. Your resume says it all. Thank you so much for allowing me to introduce you on Spaced Out Radio.
Well, Dave, thank you so much for having me on, and I'm really excited to have a chance to speak with you about all this stuff tonight.
And we have another special guest tonight from CE5 Canada, a gentleman named Dan Berg, who works underneath Rob closely as they go around the world looking for UFOs. Dan, also, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Dave.
Great to have both of you here. Rob, I'm going to start with you here for a second because I want my audience to get to know you. You are going the distance tonight. We only got Danny for a short period of time here. But Rob, at 12 years old, you kind of caught a glimpse of something. I got to know what that was.
Well, it kind of came out of nowhere. Originally, I was at Scouts. It was a Monday night. My mom had said, when you're done Scouts, give me a shout. I'll come and pick you up. But go outside the church. They have to lock the door and just wait there for me. So, Scouts was over. I went outside. After calling my mom, I'm ready to be picked up. And when I went outside, there were some kids playing in the street. And this is in Sarnia, Ontario, Canada. Sarnia is right at the bottom of Lake Huron, right across from Port Huron, Michigan, in the United States. And it's right against the St. Clair River there. And as I went out the door, these kids saw me that were playing in the street, and they said, "Hey, mister, there's a helicopter up in the sky." And I don't know why they told me, and I don't know why they called me mister. It must have been the hat and the tie and the shiny shoes as a Boy Scout. But I looked up in the sky, and I didn't hear any noise. And I'm watching this light, a very bright light, and I didn't see any blades. I heard no noise. And I thought, well, what is it? It can't be a plane. There's no sound. It's traveling slowly also. And it wasn't even up that high. It was up at like 800 feet. And it was slowly moving from the north to the south, right over me. But the strange thing was, each time it changed direction, it was in the blink of an eye. And I thought, am I seeing things? How can it not come to a stop before it changes direction? And I'm watching this, and now the kids are gone, and I'm all by myself in the street. It's dark, it's late, and I'm getting a little nervous. And each time it changed direction, it came down a little lower. And I was really getting the sense that it was stalking me. And I'm kind of saying my prayers, for my mom to get here quickly. And as it got lower and lower, I got a closer look at it. And it had it was a very bright light in the bottom, but the light was coming through some kind of a lens. And as I looked closer, I could see figures moving behind this lens. And it's like, oh boy, it's a UFO. Why me? And this was during the big flap of Michigan. It was 1966. This was March 28th or 29th. And it was in the news. There was a lot of sightings in the news at that time, and it was the famous flap. And just then my mom arrived, and I said, I was all excited. I said, Mom, you got to get out of the car and look up in the sky. There's a UFO. And she said, oh, Rob, let's go home. You got to do your homework and get to bed, and you've got school tomorrow. So I'm arguing with her for about 30 seconds to get out of the car. Finally, she gets out of the car. And we look up, and, of course, it's gone. And so now I'm the guy that, has made up this whole big fanciful story. And we're pretty quiet on the way home. And I told my dad when we got back, my brother, and they didn't believe me, of course. And I went in my room, did my homework, and went to bed. And then the next day after school, I got home, and my mom was all excited. And she's got the paper open, and she says, Rob, what you saw last night's all over the paper. And I said, really? And she said, over 200 people saw it. Policemen.
No kidding.
There's a whole story on the base, the different officers that saw it, the officers who the newspaper talked to, and they had scrambled a jet, I think 2 jets actually. They had scrambled 2 jets after it, and this thing just took off at a high rate of speed, and they never caught it. So that was great. What I saw was validated, and I was so happy after that. And then, within a day or two, I'm the celebrity at school now. I'm the guy who's seen this thing that was all over the front page and the second page of the paper. And my friend across the street said, well, Rob, could I see a flying saucer or a UFO? And I said, well, maybe. Why don't we go on the roof of my house, one night when it's a clear night? So a couple weeks later, we climb up the antenna. It's one of those, the kind that have the X's all the way up, and you can just climb up. And it's a 1-floor home with a very, not a steep roof. It's a bungalow style. And we went up there with our blankets, pillows, binoculars, tape recorder, walkie-talkies, compass, paper and pencil, you name it. And we were up there maybe half an hour, and we're getting kind of cold because this is now in, April. And we ran out of things to say. And I said to him, I don't think we're going to see. And just as I said the word see, it must have been 100 lights that went across the sky from the north, same direction as the other one was a couple weeks earlier. About 100 objects come from the north and straight across the horizon, from the horizon right across above us to the south horizon in like a second and a half. And it's like, wow, did you see that? And I said, what is it? And he said, I don't know. And then just as we're talking, about 30 seconds later, they all went back from the south to the north again. And it's like, and that's horizon to horizon in a second and a half. So we got so excited, and we grabbed our stuff and climbed down the antenna. We went running across to his folks' house where my parents were having coffee, and we thought they would be all excited about what we had seen, but they weren't interested in the least. And so we just, turned around, went back to my place and watched Star Trek.
Interesting.
So, and the whole time then after that, I'd always be watching the sky like, what was that? Was it something man-made? Was it, ET craft? What was it? And, many years later, I went with my younger son to the newspaper in Sarnia. We live in London now. And went to the archives, which are in the Sarnia Public Library, and we looked up that sighting. We looked up that newspaper article. And I have a copy of the article today. And the funny thing was, Dave, I hate to be the one to start a conspiracy theory, but page 2 was missing. Okay? Page 2 was where they got into the juicy details with all the names of the people at the Air Force Base that they interviewed and talked to about going after this thing. And I thought, well, isn't that a coincidence, right? So I asked the librarian, I said, are there other archives around the country? Because maybe in the Sarnia archive, somehow page 2 didn't get microfilmed. So I called all the other archives around Canada, and it was the same story. Every single one, page 2 was missing. So that was the sighting. That was the whole thing that started my whole quest right there when I was 12 years old.
Interesting. Right there. I mean, that is such a profound experience as such a young man, Rob, that you really can see how this topic affected you, especially when all the information with it had disappeared.
Well, yeah, and the other thing is, a lot of people, even these days, like to be in the closet about this subject. They don't want others to know that they're interested in it. And I never had that problem because it was on the front page of the newspaper, that was the validation I got, and I didn't need any validation from anybody else after that. And it's like, well, I know what I saw, and it was seen by over 200 people, and it was documented in the newspaper. So, over the years, I've told my story, and I've never worried about what people thought because I really don't care. I know what I saw was documented. And a good friend of mine, Mark McNabb, we were doing a film together, and it was actually at my house. He did children's films and stuff. And between sets, or between, doing a shooting or whatever, the actors, they get made up and it takes some time, and everybody's sitting around just chatting. And, of course, they chat about, family, their work, interesting stories, and somehow it came up about UFOs. So I told my story. And, went on to the next person, they told their story and so on. I didn't think anything of it. And then months later, Mark called me up and he says, Rob, let's get together for lunch. I've got an idea to present to you. So we met, and he said, we're going to travel around the world. And I said, well, what do you mean? And he said, well, you remember when you had that second sighting on the roof of your parents' house? I said, yeah. And he said, you called them in. You and your friend called them in.
Yes.
He said, I've researched it. I've talked to people all around the world. And you guys at the age of 12, with open minds, being totally innocent about the whole thing, you go up there with the intention to see something, and you did. He said, think about it. What are the chances that you're going to, most people never see a UFO in their entire life. You saw the first one at Scouts, which likely wasn't a coincidence either. And then 2 weeks later, you go with the intention to see them, and you do. He says, give me a break. He says, you guys called them in. And, at that point, I was skeptical. I thought, well, maybe. I was willing to keep an open mind. And especially, if you had started researching this, and, well, maybe it'd be good to, check all this out. So he said, we're going to go around the world. We're going to meet people. We're going to meet people who've made contact. We're going to meet people who have been abducted or say they've been abducted. We're going to meet people that, during this day, they make contact and they have sightings. And I said, well, who's going to pay for it? And he said, well, you are. So that's what we've been doing, Dave. For the last 4 years, we've traveled to over 14 countries now. and probably, 40 cities. We've got some pretty neat material. I mean, Dan's seen some of the stuff. I've got one photo that was taken in the mountains of Peru, 2 hours from Cusco, and I just took it with my iPhone camera, and it's got full detail and everything. Now, it doesn't look like a saucer with windows, but it's a very detailed shape. It's got, and it looks like it's ultraviolet in color. I didn't see it with my eyes, but don't forget, camera phones can see into the ultraviolet a little bit, and they can see into the infrared a little bit. I was just taking photos at random in the sky, and when I went through the photos 2 days later, lo and behold, the second one was this craft. So, we got the famous Squamish orb in Squamish, BC. That was the
top 10 in the world.
Into the woods. There you go. And that was written up in MUFON's top 10 sightings for 2017. And, slowly my equipment evolved. I just started out with a P900, and now I've got, it's, full spectrum, it's visible, it's infrared, there's thermal cameras, there's night vision with zoom, with wide angle. I got the whole 9 yards on there, and if it's up there, we're going to film it.
I want to bring Dan in here, Dan Berg from CE5 Canada. Dan, we only got about 6 minutes here before we got to go to break at the bottom of the hour. What got you interested in UFOs, and how did you end up working with Rob after all of this?
You know what I'll say real quick before I answer that question is before any of this happened, I had no interest. I didn't have any experiences as a child. I'd seen nothing my entire life, and I hooked up with. How do I make this a quick story? I got divorced at 40, relocated to another city, and something intensely inside me wanted me to explore if there was something more, and it wasn't ET or CE5 or anything like that. I wanted to know if there were ghosts. I was willing to go on vacations to places that were haunted to see if I could see a ghost. I just wanted to know if there was something more. Living a life where I'd never seen anything, and I'm not trying to plug anything right now, but there's a group, Costa Macrease, that has ET Let's Talk. I found them online after watching a very intriguing documentary that brought me closer to understanding that maybe there is life beyond our planet. And so much to say in such a short amount of time, but I went on a trip to Mount Shasta on an expedition to explore the idea that we may not be alone, and I saw everything I needed to see in the very first day that I was there. So all I can say is, once again, I grew up not seeing anything. I got to a point in my life where I needed my curiosity to be satisfied, whether there was something more than what we're taught from childhood. And you can ask me another question when I say this, but I got to a point where I was validated that there is more to life than what we're taught and than what meets the eye.
What led you to working with Rob?
After my first experience in Mount Shasta, I went to a contact in the desert. Obviously, that very first experience was amazing in Mount Shasta. I showed up in Contact in the Desert with some big names, Paola Harris, Leon Valverdes, Charles Lamoureux, a whole bunch of people that I was probably the only nobody at that Contact in the Desert in Joshua Tree, California. And Rob Freeman was there with Skylight Films, and they were working on something they'd been working on for years. And we met there, and I mean, without getting into detail, I think we hit it off.
Very cool. Very cool.
And I followed them all over the place. Yes, sorry, go ahead.
Danny, I know we only have you for a short amount of time tonight because you have appointments you have to keep up in the morning, and I thank you for stopping by. But what makes working with Rob so special? What gives him the gift of having this talent to find UFOs in the sky?
That's the easiest question to answer. They've been filming for many years before they met me, and Rob mentioned in one of the videos that's been edited in their past, and he said verbatim, "We are in a position to get this information out." I couldn't be more passionate about anything in my life. Once you go from not knowing that there's anything else out there to knowing, and I've talked to you, Dave, off the air, to knowing that there's something beyond what we're taught to believe. Rob had made a comment in a video that that they are in a position to get this information out. I happen to know from my own personal experiences that there really is information to get out, and I'm drawn to him and the people that he films with because he's honest. I mean, look, he's got top 10 in the world with the Squamish Orb video. I can get emotional about it just talking about it, but he's honest, he's real, and they have the shit to prove it. Pardon my French. They have the goods to prove what they've been documenting, what they've been filming, and for somebody like me who's this passionate, how lucky am I to connect to somebody like this? And yes, the viewers that they have with the videos they've already done on YouTube, I couldn't agree more. They have the ability to get this out, and the world needs to know this.
Danny, I got to get you to hold on. Dan Berg, CE5 Canada. Rob Freeman, our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We're getting into UFOs all night tonight. What's it like to film them and be a part of that? More Spaced Out Radio coming up.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Finish off your weekend and kick off your new week with me, Everett Themer, right here on Spaced Out Sundays. I'm going to bring you great guests, a little bit of snark, and plenty of information to think about. But don't worry, there's going to be plenty of woo as well. We are going to hit everything in the paranormal and supernatural, including the odd psychic Sundays. So tune us in on Sunday, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckard, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you will be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com. Want to remind everybody that we will be attending the Alien Cosmic Expo in Toronto, Ontario, come September 20th through 22nd. Make sure if you're in the Toronto area or wanting to visit the East Coast that you go on, check out the Alien Cosmic Expo. AlienCosmicExpo.com is where you can get your tickets. Rob Freeman, our guest tonight, will be speaking. So will I. We want to make sure that you are there, so check it on out. Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Reminder to each and every one of you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can always go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including Rocking Out to Bumblefoot. You can read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, and, of course, also feel free to check on out the Sightlines report. So if you've had an experience you can't explain, fill out a Sightlines report, and we are going to get it investigated for you. So make sure you check that on out. Dan Berg from CE5 Canada is our guest. He is joined by Rob Freeman, UFO researcher out of the province of Ontario in Canada, one of the best filmmakers, has one of the top 10 videos in the world where it comes to UFOs. Gentlemen, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Rob, I want to ask you this. You are very well known. You kind of got your name really highlighted in the field of ufology when you captured this glowing green orb in Squamish, British Columbia. Now, for our listeners in the United States and around the world who don't know where Squamish is, when you are driving north along the Sea to Sky Highway from Vancouver to the popular resort town of Whistler, the town you have to go through to get in between is a little town, a little mining and forestry community called Squamish. And they have this beautiful rock climbing slab of granite that sits probably 3,000 feet high, and it's known by climbers all around the world, rock climbers. And you were hanging out there. What brought you there, Rob?
Well, actually what happened was we got invited out to Vancouver by Charles Lamering. Charles is a famous, he was a great guy, and he filmed orbs. He's been doing that for many years. He's done a documentary himself. And he invited us out, and we set up all the equipment at one of the parks in Vancouver, and we got a few things of, I would call them garden variety orbs, interesting things. And the next night we went, I guess, just outside of Vancouver and saw a few interesting things as well. The third night, it was going to be raining in Vancouver, and we thought, well, we're here. We come all the way from Ontario. Maybe if we go north, we can get out of the rain. So we asked Charles if he'd like to come along. He said no, he's just going to veg out. So we headed up the Sea to Sky Highway, and there's the little area called Britannia Beach on the way to Squamish.
Yes.
And there was an old mine there. And we thought that was interesting because in our travels around the world, there's some themes that have sort of come together. UFOs can hang out, and one of them is mines. They love to hang out in places where there's great amounts of energy as well. For example, nuclear power plants, hydroelectric power plants, volcanoes, earthquake fault lines,
nuclear
thunderstorms, all of this. And so they have an old mine there at Britannia Beach, and that's where we were headed. So we drove up there, and we went to there's like a craft shop, and there were these two ladies that ran it, and they sold crystals and different things. So we thought we would ask them, do you ever see anything around here? And she said, well, what do you mean? Well, strange things in the sky, UFOs. And she said, well, not here, but if you go 10 minutes or so north to Squamish, BC, there's the big rock there. They call it the Chief. It's a granite monolith, straight up. It's an incredible sight to see. She said they see orbs there all the time. So, we had hung around at Botany Beach there for a little bit, and we just didn't get a feeling that there was anything to be seen. And so we did drive north. We tried to figure out a spot where it would be a good viewing point, like not right into town, but more where it was private. So we were in the back road, the lumber roads or whatever, and we came across this one spot, and we all kind of looked at each other, and there was four of us. It was Marcus, Liz, Breslin, and myself. We all kind of looked at each other, and we smiled and said, this is it. This is the place. We're going to see something here tonight. We all felt it. And it just hits you. It's not something, that we had really planned in advance where we would go. We just drove around, and when we hit the spot, we felt it. So Breslin did a meditation over on the rocks. You can see in the video. I set up my equipment. Marcus and Liz were set up in the back of the van with the door open because we were going to be there for a while. We got there around 4, and we were going to leave the cameras there, and if something happened, we were going to take video and so on. And, it got dark, and nothing had happened. And at 10:59, we were just standing around by the WMD, weapon of mass detection, or debunction, more importantly, or debunking. And I was talking to Marcus, and right that second, Breslin said, "What's that light?" And I immediately turned to the equipment, and now, up until this time, I didn't leave the cameras running because, I have many, many cameras on there and run for many hours. So it's a lot of footage to go through after, and I thought, well, when I see something, I'll start them recording. That was my general rule of thumb up until this point. So when she saw the light, my instinct was first, okay, where is it? And I turned around, I took the tripod, and I quickly thought, which camera? I can only turn on one because this thing's moving quickly, and, I won't have time to turn on more than one. So I hit the zoom night vision camera, and I got it right into the screen, and I followed it, and it's literally a 10-second video. And I kept my eye on the screen, and in that instant, I thought, do I chance taking my eye off and turning on some of the other cameras? And I said, no, you have it, just shut up and film. So I just followed it along, and as I was doing it, I thought, well, this is probably an airplane landing light. So, but film anyway, you don't know.
That's how honest
and I'm following the light.
Is that he would actually question that it might be an airplane landing when this is that top 10 video in the world. That's how honest Rob is. I'm sorry, Rob. Go ahead.
That's okay. So I was following it along, and all of a sudden it went in the trees. And that's when you hear me say, oh, because, what airplane would go into the trees? And I didn't notice there was no sound. With all the excitement happening in those few seconds, Breslin had a night scope. She had a wide-angle night scope. She was watching it, and I was filming. And, I tried to continue as it went into the woods, and then it was gone. And then you could hear us discussing, was it an airplane? And she said there was no sound. And I thought, well, that's true. There wasn't. And that was very interesting. And so immediately after we got it, I played it back. I did a little video on my phone, and I sent it to Charles. I thought, he's not going to like this. He had the chance to come with us. We just got a fantastic sighting. He's not going to want to get this video. But he was the first guy I shared it with, only because it was him that sent us up there. It was him that had invited us out to BC. I shared it with him. He was super excited, and he went to work to try to debunk it immediately. He went to all his information to see if there were any planes in the area. He even checked the ISS. And his information told us that the ISS went through about 15 minutes before, and the ISS was at a different angle than what we would be able to see because, you know, you've got all the mountains there in front of us.
And the ISS did not fly into the trees.
No. And the ISS, of course, is the International Space Station. So, you know, we stayed out for maybe another hour and didn't get anything more, and we, you know, talked to Charles more, and Charles said, you know, in his experience, he has found many, many times when the ISS is going overhead, there are sightings before and sightings after. He said, and even sometimes he's seen orbs around the ISS. Now, whether they're, you know, closer in the atmosphere to his field of vision and appear to be around the ISS, or whether, in fact, they are, you know, thousands of however many miles the ISS is up, whether they're, you know, lights around the ISS, don't know. But he did tip us to the fact that, you know, orbs show up before, after, and during the ISS when it's going to fly over quite often. So that was great. You know, that was the last night, so, you know, we flew back. And I kept thinking, you know, this is a pretty special thing we got, and the local newspaper needs to know about this. This is something that happened in their community. The people have a right to know about this. So I called the local paper, and I gave her the story, and she also interviewed Marcus, you know, producer of the films and documentaries we're doing, and it came out in the newspaper. And, of course, you know, they had their online edition, and everybody jumps in and has their own opinion on what it was. And, you know, a lot of people thought it was the ISS. I had a lot of people writing me and accusing me of filming the ISS. And so we decided that we would go back and try to debunk it. You know, we're not after the 95% of the sightings that can be explained away as natural things, or, you know, airplanes, meteorites, balloons, helicopters, birds, you name it. We are going after that 5% of unknown that's legitimately and authentically unknown. And perhaps even a smaller percentage of that is an actual ET craft. So, you know, our modus operandi is to film things that are authentic. That's what we really want to do. We don't want to post things that might be something else. So we did go back, and I had all the information from different sources of the exact angles of the ISS, of the exact times, and, you know, I did a video. I showed the app, and I showed the, you know, it can be searched if you look under debunking the Squamish orb. And we proved, even with two separate apps that are on the iPhone that will track the ISS, and you can go back in the historical dates and get the exact spots it was at a given minute, we proved that it was not the ISS. And once again, the ISS was something like 15 minutes before. But also, remember that Charles said, when you have the ISS passing through, you can get these orbs before, during, or after. So the truth is that, yes, the ISS did come, but earlier, but the entire travel, the path of travel of the ISS was below the mountain. Like, you couldn't see it behind the mountain. You couldn't see it the entire time. And I've got that shown in the video, Dave. You just would not be able to see it. It was just way too low on the horizon. So that, you know, having it in the newspaper and having it on YouTube, well, first of all, we contacted MUFON and Dave Palachuk, and, you know, the chief investigator, national investigator in Canada for MUFON, and he took this sighting, and he did tons of research on it, and he also then, his conclusion was it was unknown, and they put it in the, you know, with their parent group in the U.S., they decided that this is one of the top 10 sightings for 2017, so they put it in the magazine. So it became more and more famous. We were on Coast to Coast. Many other people wrote to see if we'd get permission for them to put the video on their YouTube, and we did, as long as you give credit. And it just got shared everywhere. And it currently has 86,000 views. And, I got contacted by other programs, other radio stations, and, to describe, where, when, and why, and how this happened. So, but the funny thing was, when we arrived at that spot, we knew we were going to see something, and we did.
That, when you have that type of experience, so up close and personal, when you're not expecting it, how off guard did it catch you?
Totally off guard. Like, after that experience, I now, and, Brian can back me up on this one because, for many hours the next day, he'll take so many of the files and I'll take so many of the files, and we go through them meticulously, scanning for, unknown objects. But after that happened, and, people really criticized me badly. They said, you've got $100,000 worth of equipment there and all those cameras, and you only got the one video? And I'm like, God, I was lucky to get that. Like, to get it turned on and get that one camera. I know, but nevertheless, we did get it. But what I do these days is all cameras are filming as soon as we set up the WMD through the entire night. And, we'll be up, we could start, depending on where we are, we could start just before dark and start filming things while it's still daylight and try to catch objects reflecting the sun off of them. That was a thing that Dan had proposed. As the sun is setting high up in the sky, you can sometimes have that happen. But we'll film right through. So it could be like, 5 or 6 o'clock, right through to midnight. So you're talking 6 or 7 hours there. And then right through to 3 o'clock or even 4 in the morning, like, at Mount Adams, at James Gilliland's ranch, I was out till 4 in the morning and got some fantastic shots of the lights on Mount Adams. But once again, that's like 6 plus 4. That can be 10 hours per camera of video footage continuously per night. So I don't even know how many cameras, they have to count them, but let's say at least 7 cameras.
You got 8
cameras times 8 cameras times 10 hours is 80 hours of footage every night. So, we're out till 3 or 4 in the morning, and then Dan and I will, try to get a little bit of sleep, and then we're up splitting the files. You take these, I'll take these, and we just fast forward through them from beginning to end. And, Dan has found tons of stuff on there. I found tons of stuff on there. A lot of it can be explained. Like we'll get into discussions along with Mark and Liz and others that are there. We'll get into discussions, what do you think this is? Put forward a theory, okay, it might be this, and then try to debunk it. And we will get stuff that we can't explain. So I've got the cameras, we get the footage, and it's a huge task, and it would be great if we had even more people to go through this footage because, we've got to get it all done and have something to eat once or twice during the day and then be set up again that night. So we've got to be finished debunking, not debunking, but going through the footage to find new sightings and then be set up for the next night again. So it's a lot of work, but it's a work of passion, Dave. The hours will just fly by, and it's like, oh, my God, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We better think about doing this or doing that. But it's exciting when we find something. And, of course, it's disappointing when you debunk it or when, you put your heads together and you really determine that, no, it's this. It just looks like this. But when you come at it with
but it's actually quite rewarding when you actually debunk something. because we only want the truth.
Exactly. And you get more respect. There's a lot of channels on YouTube where, every light in the sky is a UFO. And, honestly, when we first started, it was like that for us. But these days, it's like, no, most of the lights in the sky are not UFOs. They're all explained. And a big one that people fall into the trap of are these rotating rocket bodies. There's many apps in the App Store for your iPhone and for your Android phone that will show you where all the rocket bodies are. Like once they launch a satellite, in many cases, the rocket stays up there. And these are big pieces of metal that are slowly turning. Not only are they turning, but they're moving across the sky. And when they hit the right angle of the sun that has been set for an hour or two, they will flash.
You get a great
as they turn. Flash. You can get a great big flash. You can get a pattern where it flashes every 10 seconds. I've got one where it flashed every 18 seconds. So it's, tons of stuff that you don't even see, but we caught on time lapse and we caught on video. And, might say, oh gosh, we haven't seen anything. We play all the stuff back and we got tons of stuff. But for example, these rocket bodies, as they turn and as they move in their orbit, they get a little brighter where it'll be like a little flash, and then 10 seconds later another flash, and every flash gets brighter for a period of time until it's now moving away and it's no longer acting as a mirror reflecting the sun to your location. It's reflecting somewhere else. But that one is the biggest one that people to this day feel are UFOs. And I mean, people will, shine their laser up at it as it flashes once, and of course it flashes again. Well, of course, it's turning, So that's great to document all of that. And I'm not saying they're all rocket bodies. You have to look at it very, very carefully. For example, are there any subtle sub-patterns there? In other words, is it continuing the same rate of speed across the atmosphere? Is it slowing down or speeding up? Okay, so it's not a rocket body if it's doing that, or a satellite. Is it changing direction slightly? Okay, rocket bodies and satellites go in a direct direction. I mean, they're on an orbit where they are moving in a continuous direction, and they do not waver from that. And when they turn around, when they're rotating, it's a continuous, uniform rotation. So, you got to look for the pattern, and quite often you won't see it with your eyes. You'll see it in the time lapse, and you can measure it, and it'll be exactly 10 seconds or whatever.
I'm going to get you guys to hold on. We are going to break tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Hour 1 in the books. Rob Freeman, Dan Berg. Hour 2 of Spaced Out Radio and UFO Talk coming up after this.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com. We're bringing you something new to the documentary world. Beyond the Spectrum will take you on an historic tour of topics like no other. Sasquatch, UFOs, government secrecy, and more, keeping you on the edge of your seats through the eyes of legendary truth seekers like Steve Bassett, Richard Dolan, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, and Jack Kasher. Head on over to Amazon Prime or Tubi TV and check us out. Please leave a comment for the filmmakers on their film's Amazon page.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
A little bit of science, a little bit of skepticism. Add a dash of snark and you have the makings of Spaced Out Sundays with me, Everett Freeman. Together we will look into the reality of the paranormal with an open eye and rational thought. Oh, did I mention there'll be plenty of woo as well? Your time spent with Spaced Out Sundays will make the night even better. The chat rooms are open, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to the second hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. We want to say hello to WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, and those listening on KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans, KDNF AM 1560 in Dangerfield, Texas, and we're on in Ridgecrest, California, KZFX 93.7 FM. On the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. Don't forget, all of our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Lambdoid. Lambdoid is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot. You can fill out an SOR Sightlines report if you've had a weird occurrence, and read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. We got more coming soon, very, very shortly. We're talking with Rob Freeman tonight on Spaced Out Radio. He is one of the top UFO researchers and filmmakers out there when it comes to this subject. I will be speaking with him at the Alien Cosmic Expo. Not this weekend coming up, but the next weekend, the 20th through the 20th. What is it? The 20th through the 22nd in Toronto, Ontario. So make sure you go to aliencosmicexpo.com. Check it on out. Rob is most famous for this great video. All you got to do is go to YouTube, type in Rob Freeman glowing orb, and it'll pop up. It is phenomenal. We were talking about that the last half hour. If you missed that last half hour, you're definitely going to want to check it out on our archives. We're also joined by CE5 Canada's Dan Berg. Gentlemen, welcome back.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
Rob, I want to ask you, because we're all Canadian here, and the majority of our listeners are in the United States. How come we don't get a lot of UFO talk up here in Canada comparatively to what's going on just south of the 49th parallel?
Well, I guess, it's the old story. If a tree falls in the woods, does anybody hear it? Canada has only 10% of the population of the U.S., and for UFOs to be reported, there has to be somebody to see it. And the U.S. has 10 times the population, so there's more eyes to the sky. So that could explain it a lot. We have large, vast areas in Canada where there aren't many people. We're really concentrated, kind of nestled down to the U.S. border in our cities. So, that could explain it.
Dan, what do you think?
I think it has a lot to do with what Rob said. I think that in Canada we've got cleaner skies. if you're going to see something in the sky, it has a lot to do with clear skies, being able to see the stars. You know, if you're seeing things on the ground, which happen on a regular basis with people that do this on a regular basis, I think, you know, you go into the States, it's an overpopulated country, and, you know, I can name a couple of states where things are isolated, but here in Canada, those of you in the United States that are listening, we're lucky to have beautiful, clear skies, and hey, what else can I say?
We have a number of stories that have come out. Dan, your video, Rob's video is one of them, Dan. We've got the Shag Harbor incident of 1967. We got Stefan Mikulek, that a coin was made last year that sold out in less than a week, 4,000 coins. They're a $20 coin. They're now valued at around $2,000 on the collector's edition. The history with the really cool experiences is here in Canada, yet it is not promoted like the United States, Dan. Do you feel that the Canadian public is at a real impasse on what to do with this subject, or they don't care?
You know what? Honestly, Dave, I don't know. I have no freaking clue. All I can tell you is that I've had some incredible experiences that I didn't experience when I was a child, that I've experienced as an adult. And, you know, what I can tell you is when I do these expeditions in the United States, Rob was talking about rocket bodies and satellites that do a lot of flashing. It seems when I go to the States, there's an awful lot more things happening in the sky. And we're only concerned, as Rob said, with the 5% that are unexplained. And when I do these things in the United States, there seems to be a whole lot of stuff happening in the sky that I think is terrestrial.
Rob, what's your thoughts?
You know, Canadians are a little more conservative, I guess. Americans are a little more outspoken in general. So perhaps the Americans get behind this subject a little bit more than the Canadians do. But as you've alluded to, we've got plenty of our own sightings right here in Canada. Also, because we've only got 1/10 of the population, we only have 1/10 of the number of events or, you know, conferences. And a lot of the bigger names are drawn to the U.S., but nevertheless, you know, we've got the Alien Cosmic Expo coming up with some pretty top names: Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Paola Harris. You know, maybe we can read more of them later on. But, you know, hopefully we can attract more people to Canada and have the same level of interest here that they are getting in the States.
Rob, is our ex-defense minister Paul Hellyer still alive? Sorry for my...
Yes, he's 95 years old.
Okay. And as a matter of fact, you know, we just interviewed him 2 or 3 months ago. We put a video on YouTube, and he was talking about the different races of ETs around, and he was talking about how the ones in our galaxy look a lot like us. He said they don't look exactly like us, but he says you wouldn't know them on the street to be different. And he described them as first cousins. So, you know, Paul knows a lot, and he's disclosed a lot on what he's allowed to say with his non-disclosure with the Canadian government and the research he's done. But I would encourage any and everybody to go to the ACM Cosmic Expo and hear him speak before, you know, he gets too much older. He's 95 years old, I believe, and he's got the passion for this. And but nevertheless, see him and listen to him while he's still alive.
Shame on me. I thought he passed.
No, I 100% agree with you on that. Well, Danny thought he had passed, and he's now upset that he's not coming to Toronto because Hellier is still going strong at his age, still posting really good graphic books that he is writing on the subjects, whether it's UFOs, alien species, and the Illuminati, you name it, it is there for the taking. You know, it's very important to hear these gentlemen. I mean, after the loss of Stanton Friedman earlier this year, and that was a loss to the UFO community, and the year before Jim Mars, you know, somebody like Paul Hellier is definitely somebody we have to talk to. Are you surprised, Rob and Dan, and I'll start with you on this one, Rob, that considering the position that Paul Hellier had with the Canadian government, being the Minister of Defense, that more Canadian politicians haven't stood up to this subject to follow in his shoes?
I really am surprised. You know, it takes great courage, especially when you're somebody like him, to actually vote on this subject. But I am surprised that there aren't more that have come forward. I mean, you know, we were talking to Paul personally at one of the conferences, and he related an incident when he was defense minister, and he said that NATO was tracking, a whole swarm of objects moving across Europe, and the USSR at that time was ready to push the button, thinking that they were NATO and from Europe or from the U.S. or whatever. Meanwhile, NATO and, you know, Canada and the United States and so on, they were thinking it was the USSR and they were ready to push the button. I don't know what happened, but they finally both realized that it wasn't either of them. And, you know, Paul told us this story, and these are just some of the things that he had inside knowledge of as defense minister. And so, once again, I would encourage everybody to, you know, listen to him, read his books, go to the conference. Even, you know, he's a great guy. He's very approachable. He will, you know, one of the conferences we went to, he had his own table where he had his books, and everybody that came up to him, he would answer their questions and have a good conversation. He's honest. He will tell you exactly what he is able to. I'm sure there's lots of top secret stuff that he can't talk about with his NDA, and I don't, you know, we cannot blame him for not wanting to violate his NDA, but he can talk about what he can talk about and all the research that he's done. And to hear people like this speak, I mean, he was right in the know. He was in a top government position, kind of like, you know, Luis Elizondo in the U.S. So it's important to speak to these people and listen to what they have to say.
Mm-hmm. You know what I don't agree with Paul Hellier, and I talked to Grant Cameron about this, and okay. Grant will also be speaking at the Alien Cosmic Expo next weekend in Toronto, is the fact that he opens up a UFO landing pad in St. Albert, Alberta on July 3rd, 1967. Shortly before that, the Stephen Michalak case in Manitoba happened, and he's on record, because he even told me on this show, that when he was sitting as Minister of Defense in Canada, he did not hear or speak of any UFOs or have any UFO talk, had no understanding of the subject, was not even on his mind. It wasn't until later on when he started studying things that he came out publicly to announce everything that he had learned since his political career. Much like what we see out of Senator Harry Reid right now down in Nevada. Do you think that Paul is telling the full truth, or do you think that he is holding back from what he really, really knows because of his patriotism to the flag?
How about can he?
Well, I honestly don't know, Dave. And I know this is a big problem in general in ufology. And that's why myself and our group, we want to get out there and experience it for ourselves. It's so hard to know what to believe. And truly, the only thing you can ever believe 100% are your own experiences. If you look at what your experiences, you know what you've experienced, you know what you've seen. We've all heard all the stories from different people, and, we're nodding our head, but can we truly believe them 100%? The only way, and I encourage people, is to get out there and try to make contact themselves and have these experiences themselves. And then they'll be a believer, but more so, they'll be a knower. You don't have to be a believer when you get out and experience the stuff that we're experiencing, stuff that you've experienced, stuff that Dan has experienced. You don't have to take a leap of faith. You become a knower, and you know what you've seen. You know what you've seen with the people you're seeing it with, and it doesn't matter what people say. You don't care because you know what you've seen, and you've got witnesses with you that have also seen the same thing. So do I know if Paul Hellier's telling the truth? I don't know. I don't know if any of these people are telling the truth. I just don't know. I only know what I've seen and experienced, and that's why we're going around the world, is because we want to meet all these people, not just to hear their stories, but to go out in the field with them. Because once again, you hear the stories, and it's like, well, are they true or not? The only things that we truly know in life in general are things that we've experienced for ourselves. And then that becomes very, very strong. And then once you've had that experience, you don't get involved with these fights with people to prove or to try to prove that it's real or prove it isn't real. You know it is yourself. I mean, on my channel, I get people that jump in and say all these things. I mean, I've got photos that are authentic, and I have people from UFO groups that accuse me of photoshopping them.
Yeah.
I don't even care. I let the other people fight among themselves on the YouTube channel, and I just stand back and watch because, as an experiencer, I don't feel you have to defend yourself. Inside, you know what you've experienced. I mean, Dave, what's motivated you to do the things you're doing and to be, this radio show, all this stuff? It's work of passion, and you know what you've experienced, 100%.
Dave.
Yes.
Quick question for you.
Okay.
I would love to. I don't know how to listen to this interview. I'm sure afterwards you can tell me how. I would love for you to put below a simple question to put out to people.
Sure.
And that question is, do you believe, will you believe, do you believe, should you believe what you see with your own eyes? This is not, we're not talking about things that aren't tangible. We're not talking about sensations or feelings. We're talking about things that are tangible, that have been captured on film. So my question to you is, I would love it if you would put, if you have a platform to be able to do it, to ask the question to your viewers, do you believe what you see? And I would love to know what the census is.
You know what? I'll do that tomorrow for my thought of the Dave. Do you believe what you see? That's actually a good one. That's actually a very good one. I can do that.
Very simple. If you see it, do you believe it, or do you have to take somebody else's word for it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's a solid question that a lot of us do not know. Do you believe it if you see it with your own eyes? And I don't think a lot of the public does, especially as this starts to transition into more of a mainstream subject. Do we even believe what we're looking at in this, guys? Do we have enough education, even though it's been all over the world the last number of decades since media started? Do we believe even what we see? Are we educated enough to tell the difference between a hot air balloon, an orb, a plane, a satellite, a rocket flying through the sky, a meteor? Are we educated enough as public? Rob, what's your thoughts?
Dan's got a real good point there. The public needs to be educated. It's not a question of are these things there? It's like, what are they? That's what Paula Harris says. We need to really take it to the next step. You've got a whole group of the public that is in denial. I can't tell you how many people I've met that have seen stuff, but don't even want to go there. They put it out of their mind. They deny it, and, they feel ashamed talking about it. They don't even want to go to the next step. Like, what are they worried about? It's like, if you've seen something, and especially if you've seen it with another witness, we like to do it that way, because if you question your own mind, it's like, did I really see that? Was that a hallucination? What was it? Well, if you're with a group of people, it's a way you can keep your own sanity. Because when others around you say you're full of crap, you've got your other people that you saw it with. And those are the only people that you truly care about for support, because the others will just try to tear you down. But if you've seen something, if you've seen it with somebody else, then it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's authentic. Now, you got to take it to the next level, and you've got to debunk, because you do have to educate yourself on what is it am I seeing? Is it something unknown, or is this something that can be explained? And that's where we really
if I can
now.
Jump in for 1 second.
We've got about 1 minute, guys.
Rob Freeman is that man. Anything and everything we see, he has to debunk, and I respect that. Anything, everything we see, it has to go through the gamut of questions. It has to. You are not. I'm a nobody here. I'm so blessed to be on this channel with you, but Rob Freeman is the man who has put his life into this, and he debunks everything to the point of disappointment for me. He debunks everything. Amen.
It does happen, and that's a good thing. I mean, to have critical thinking happening in this field of ufology, if we can even call it a field, is difficult to find at best. That's why we got Rob Freeman on the show tonight, Dan Berg from CE5 Canada as well. We got more Spaced Out Radio and UFO talk coming up right after this.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Finish off your weekend and kick off your new week with me, Everett Themer, right here on Spaced Out Sundays. I'm going to bring you great guests, a little bit of snark, and plenty of information to think about. But don't worry, there's going to be plenty of woo as well. We are going to hit everything in the paranormal and supernatural, including the odd psychic Sundays. So tune us in on Sunday, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
We're bringing you something new to the documentary world. Beyond the Spectrum will take you on an historic tour of topics like no other. Sasquatch, UFOs, government secrecy, and more, keeping you on the edge of your seats through the eyes of legendary truth seekers like Steve Bassett, Richard Dolan, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, and Jack Kasher. Head on over to Amazon Prime or Tubi TV and check us out. Please leave a comment for the filmmakers on their film's Amazon page.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, and while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters in the frozen Canadian tundra. Great to have all of you with us, and I'm very excited to announce that my chainsaw is now fixed, so I can go back into the wilderness to get some firewood, which should be a long, long winter this year. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm a happy man that my chainsaw is fixed. That's how Canadian I am, broadcasting to all of you around the world. Hey, I want to remind all of you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can always go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, fill out a Sightlines report if you've had an experience you can't explain. Read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, which is updated daily, and there is more coming very, very soon. Tonight we have Rob Freeman and Dan Berg on talking UFO sightings, videography, you name it. Rob and I will be speaking at the Alien Cosmic Expo on the 20th through 22nd in Toronto, Ontario. Go to aliencosmicexpo.com. If you can be in the area, we'd love to meet you. Shake your hand, say hello, thanks for being a fan. Come join us at the Alien Cosmic Expo. Rob, Dan, welcome back to the show.
It's actually
Thanks,
a
Dave.
power saw, not a chainsaw, Dave.
I got a chainsaw, man. I don't do the politically correct
saw.
terms. This coming from a guy who uses Brutus the Barber beefcake shears to cut his own hair. So that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying,
Ouch.
Danny. Yeah, I went there. I totally went there. Your mullet looks great, by the way. Hey, I want to ask you guys, Rob, right on. Danny and I go back, people. Danny and I go back, so we're allowed to kind of snark each other a little bit. But I want to start with you on this one, Rob, and then I want to bring Dan in on this. Rob, you are a videographer. You're out in the field still trying to catch videos of UFOs. I got to ask you, since this whole disclosure movement started since the New York Times article, how has that changed the level of importance of your research?
Even more important, because now people are starting to listen. So, it's more important that we actually do capture the truth. Because there's so much stuff out there, unfortunately, that's hoaxed and people looking to make a fast buck. So now that the public is starting to listen, it's more important than ever to try to get information out there to them that actually is accurate. And that's exactly what we're trying to do is, no matter what we capture, we do try to debunk so that whatever we put up on YouTube, whatever's going in the documentary, whatever's going to go in the TV show that we're working with Netflix to try to sell, whatever's in there is exactly what we've seen. And, even during that information, we will talk about the processes we go through to debunk because, unfortunately, 95% of what is seen is explained, but that 5% is unexplained. And it's important that we really, really all try hard now to get the truth out to the public, because they are ready to consume this information. I can't tell you how many people I've run into on the street now that are coming forward and talking about their sightings, and they do want more information. People are getting very hungry for the truth and accurate information.
It's the hottest subject on the planet.
I understand that, Danny. I guess where I'm going with this, Dan, is yes, this is a big subject that is really, really taken to the forefront. And let's face it, I think we can all agree it's about time. It's been way too long that the public, especially in the mainstream, has closed their eyes to this. And now they're starting to open them a little bit to see that there may be actually something going on, what all of our experiencers who listen to this show or others already know. So my question is, Dan, in regards to the fact that the people are starting to wake up and notice, the main push has been towards government and disclosure rather than the heavy research that people like Rob are doing. So I'm just curious, how has that changed the game with the level of importance?
The only way I can answer that question is to say that people like Rob that are out there offering information that is tangible, that you can touch and see and look at. Put that aside. Why do we have bifurcations of different channels? We have Fox News that is covering everything, Luis Elizondo, UFOs are real, they're running, the Navy pilots are seeing them every day. Other channels are not. I'm sorry if I'm not answering your question directly, but why is there one channel that seems to be dedicated to talking about this? And if people that are listening to this don't understand that Fox News is covering UFO disclosure, and that's what's happening. Fox News is covering everything, anything to do with UFOs. CNN is not. It's all Trump. It's all, I don't mean to get off track, but there's a whole lot of disclosure happening right now. I've posted on my channel or on my Facebook page. Why don't you answer this question for me, Dave? What is going on? Can you please tell me?
Well, I do believe that there is something major going on. I do believe there is a controlled media narrative, and that could incite another 6 to 10 hours of conversation right there in regards to how the disclosure process could be tainted, so to speak. But when it comes down to the idea that we have, people such as Rob out in the field who are trying to conduct proper research, trying to conduct legitimate videos, trying to get the real thing, debunking what's fake, whether it's satellites or airplanes or meteors, whatever is out there outside of the anomalous craft that he is getting. I do believe that whether you're the experiencer or whether you are the researcher, such as Rob, I do believe with this newfound love of ufology, everybody wants to know what the government and the military are holding back, and that kind of puts hardworking people like Rob or Charles Lamoureux or even Tim Doyle from UFO Seekers or anybody like that. It puts them in a real awkward conundrum because here they are trying to figure out what's going on in the sky, and everybody's looking the other way, looking at Washington, D.C., trying to say, do you have UFOs?
Why won't they land on the White House lawn?
Exactly. That's exactly it. Rob, what's your thoughts?
Well, I think it really is up to the common person to push this agenda because, we can't really wait for the government to disclose. They've got their own agendas, and, there's so many diverse agendas that the government and big business have around us. I think we have to push it ourselves. And I really, really do encourage the people to get out there and start learning about this and really be careful about the information that they're receiving, because there are many agendas running parallel. And, if we wait for the government to disclose, it may not happen for a long time. And, I really sense from where I'm sitting that they're slowly putting out information to get the public used to this idea. That they don't want to come across one day and say, yes, it's legitimate, UFOs are real. They don't want to do that. It's too scary for the government to do that. They don't know how the people are going to react. I think what they're doing is slowly putting more and more and more information out there. So there may never be a day where there was disclosure that happened. All of a sudden, people are going to realize that people more and more are talking about it, and we'll look back and say, well, I don't know when the day actually happened, but they're here, and everybody talks about them, and it's no big deal. Just like various different countries in South America that we've been to. We talk to people on the street there, and even the government there accepts UFOs. We interviewed a guy from the government department that researches it all out. He sung like a bird. He told us about all the different places they visited, that UFOs have visited, the different towns that have had major things happen. Even Marcus, our producer, says, why are you telling us all these secrets? And the guy, and this is the top guy from the government, he said, well, why wouldn't I tell you? Like in Canada and the States and Australia and other countries like that, the governments are so anal about this. In other places like South America, it's a well-known accepted fact. The cultures themselves have been connected to this phenomenon for hundreds, if not thousands of years. So, I really don't think that we're going to have the day where they suddenly announce it. My own personal belief, based on what I'm seeing happening, is the information is slowly being put out so the public gets desensitized to it. So, it's kind of like the cure for cancer. Many people think, one day they're going to announce a cure for cancer. But I know doctors in this field, they say, no, that's not the way it's happening. They're finding cures for various cancers and finding treatments to manage cancer. So you'll never hear one day where they're going to say, we have a cure for cancer. All of a sudden you're going to notice that, wow, they've got treatments for many kinds of cancers, and even appears the cancer will never come back. That's what I see happening with this UFO disclosure thing.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I want to ask a question to both of you. For those of us that are watching the news and getting little tidbits that this is real, that UFOs are real, and that the government is, you asked about the government, Dave, that the government is now saying, hey, this is absolute fact. I would love to hear either of you give me an answer as to why this is a threat to national security. I'd love to hear your insight into that. And I know I could probably open up a 6-hour conversation with this, but why is this little bit of information that they're giving us finally now, why is it a threat to national security? Is it really a threat? I mean, maybe it is, but I'd like to hear your thoughts.
Dave, can I jump in a little bit on that one?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, basically, Dan, the reason they're saying it's a threat is because they've acknowledged that these craft or objects, whatever they are flying through controlled airspace, are flying across borders, are flying across the countries, i.e. United States, and that the military and Air Force have no control over it. So it's not a threat from the point of view that they could necessarily hurt us. It's the threat that something is violating the airspace, and they cannot deal with it. They've been charged with this mandate of protecting the country, and are paid by the taxpayers who look to their government to protect the country. So anything that's going through the airspace with impunity, and can totally evade anything that we do, is a threat under that sense of the word. We've got to believe they're not going to hurt us. If they were going to, they would have done it hundreds, if not thousands of years ago, and we wouldn't be having this conversation now. It's more a threat from the definition of a threat that it's violating airspace over the country, and they cannot, they can't tell it to not come across the border. It's doing
their
it
sovereignty
daily.
is invaded. I get it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's a threat to the sovereignty of the airspace above the country.
Well, I think it also comes down to, gentlemen, that there has never been, as far as we know, any proof of any type of UFO craft harming people.
No. And in fact, there's many episodes where they have helped people. I don't know if you're aware of, Dave, but there's a story of I believe there were some newsmen in a helicopter that got into trouble, and I don't know what happened, but it was heading towards the ground, and it was going to crash. And literally, a UFO appeared. There was a tractor beam. I mean, this is like right out of a movie, a Hollywood movie, and it took the helicopter up into the sky until the guy, the pilot of the helicopter, was able to get it back under his control, and the UFO took off. The helicopter was able to land safely, and everybody got out safely on the ground. I mean, that is a story that anybody can search and find, and it's legitimate. That's just one example of the benevolent nature of whatever it is that's behind this stuff.
Yeah, but that's the big thing is we know nothing about what they are, where they're from, or anything like that. And if we put some credence into stories like Roswell or what's being happening in Kecksburg or other cases, the Marfa Lights, wherever it may be, heck, even Shag Harbor, we have no proof that they are coming here to annihilate us. Let's face it, also, if they can travel through the universe from wherever they are and get here, and they have the technology to do so, they would have had the technology already to wipe us out.
There's no question, Dave.
Guaranteed.
No question.
Guaranteed.
So for the military and people to popularize the fact that this is a threat, and I want to preface that by saying what Marty says on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio. He says anything that the government must admit they cannot defend their airspace from is a threat to national security. I understand that, and I think that's the proper term for it right there. I think the term is being used very loosely, but the way the media is but the way the media is handling it, they are taking it that, they're going to be, this is going to turn into the next real life Independence Day movie. That's the way they're terming it. Dave,
this is exactly what you just said, verbatim, is the epitome of what we do or don't want to hear. I'm not quite sure the right way to say it, but those words cover the military's ass. Those words also expose all of us who believe that there's love and there is connection and there is interaction that changes people's lives. And we did not get into this with me, but my life has changed drastically and dramatically, knowing that I am not alone on this universe, It's a whole nother radio show.
We have 2.5 minutes before we got to go to break, maybe 3 minutes before we got to go to break at the top of the hour. Rob Freeman and Dan Berg are here tonight on Spaced Out Radio talking UFOs and filming it. Rob, in any of the interaction that you have had with the multitude of UFOs that you have filmed, have any been a threat?
No, absolutely not. In fact, you know, as part of this phenomenon, there's a whole trickster side to this, but a trickster in a, you know, almost like a kid being a little bit of a nuisance and having fun and playing little tricks. I can't tell you how many things we've had happen which just make us laugh. It's almost like whatever intelligence is behind this, it has a total sense of humor.
Great sense of humor. Yeah.
You know, we've never had anything happen that we took as a threat in any way. It's just the opposite, as a matter of fact.
So when you are getting those orbs or craft in the sky, are they communicating with you?
They communicate in different ways. I forget which movie it was where the father, maybe it was Honey, I Shrunk the Kids or one of them, but the father was shrunk and he was trying to get the attention of one of his daughters, and he was in the den and he was, you know, so tiny, but with all his strength, he managed to push a book onto the floor, and that's how he got the attention of the girl. It's almost like whatever this is, it's somewhat in another dimension, and it can only communicate to us in limited ways. And perhaps when we come back from the break, I can get into some of the ways that we have received communication from this intelligence, and we're trying to put the puzzle together as to what it all means. You know, it can't be a coincidence.
Yeah, it could very well be. It could very well be, because nobody I've talked to has had, not that they know of at least, a negative experience with seeing lights in the sky. I mean, but then I guess the argument for that would be, well, what about people who have missing time? Hours upon hours of missing time. And there is that danger to it as well. I mean, so we really don't know.
I'll take a little bit of missing time over malevolent extraterrestrials.
Yeah. And honestly, this is also the reason we want to experience everything that we can possibly experience around this phenomenon and judge for ourselves, because, you know, you can't believe all the Hollywood movies. All it does is incite fear in you, and it becomes an automatic response. You know, as soon as somebody says alien, you know, they get a sharp jab in their stomach about feeling fear. Well, it's just not like that at all. It's not like that at all. The Hollywood movies love to make tons of money off scaring people and using aliens and ET invasion as a theme, but it's just not true. It's the opposite. We get the impression that there's this benevolent intelligence that's probably hundreds of thousands of years ahead of us and have learned how to help other races in the universe. And we get the impression that we are living, you know, as a young child has a ant farm that he studies and takes care of.
I'm going to cut you off right. I'm going to cut you off right there, my friend, because we got to step out for break in about 10 seconds here. Rob Freeman, Dan Berg, they'll be back for the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio on their side, then the news and the thought of the day to wrap it up. We'll be back.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
we're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
Looking for something new to push your limits? Look Beyond the Spectrum, a new docuseries featuring some of the best researchers in the world when it comes to everything from UFOs, government cover-ups, and Bigfoot in the forest. Truth seekers like Steve Bassett, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, Richard Dolan, as well as others all chip in to bring their knowledge to you. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon as well as Tubi TV. Tell us what you think on our Amazon page.
A little bit of science, a little bit of skepticism. Add a dash of snark and you have the makings of Spaced Out Sundays with me, Everett Freeman. Together we will look into the reality of the paranormal with an open eye and rational thought. Oh, did I mention there'll be plenty of woo as well? Your time spent with Spaced Out Sundays will make the night even better. The chat rooms are open, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com. Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio. At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. I am your host, Dave Scott. Pleasure to be in front of the microphone for all of you. We welcome back everyone listening in on KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans, and down in Dangerfield, Texas, KDNF AM 1560. On the digital side, we're proud to broadcast on Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. Great to have you with us. Don't forget, you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Lambdoid. Lambdoid is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, fill out a Sightlines report if you've had a weird, strange encounter, or read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, which is updated daily. We got more coming very, very soon. For the final time tonight, we introduce our guest, Rob Freeman, UFO researcher and filmmaker, along with Dan Berg from CE5 Canada. Gentlemen, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Dave.
Rob, outside the orb you caught in Squamish, British Columbia, that is considered one of the top 10 UFO sightings in the last couple of decades. Do you have a memorable experience, whether it's with aliens or craft close by or nearby, landings that have really stuck with you?
Okay, one comes to mind when we went to Peru. We were very fortunate to have a private interview with Sixto Paz Wells, quite a world-famous contactee. He allowed us to come to his house in Lima, Peru, and to his backyard. We actually set up the equipment, and we interviewed him for, a good couple of hours. And he was very forthcoming with everything he knew. And we had told him that, we want to experience. We really want to only believe really what we experience and have those experiences for ourselves. He told us about many things that had happened to him over the years, described a lot of different sort of phenomena. And, we had a great interview. The very next day, we were at a famous beach called Playa Yaya. Playa is beach in Spanish, Yaya. And it's just, maybe an hour or so south of Lima. And if you search it, you will find all kinds of stories. There's been, it's described as that there's a UFO base in the ocean just out from the beach itself. There's been stories of, there's one crazy one where there were campers on the beach, and one night in a Volkswagen, old-style bug Volkswagen, came out of the water. Whether to believe this or not, I don't know. I'm just saying what Sixto shared with us. And the campers there were astonished, and these travelers in the Volkswagen were asking for direction, and they were blonde-haired, Nordic-looking people. Nevertheless, we went to that beach, and we had a number of experiences. There were 7 altogether, and I'll just get into one of them. But when we were leaving the beach, I turned the car around and promptly got stuck in the sand. And, of course, Liz, being from Venezuela, being a Latin American person, she was very nervous to be stranded on a South American beach with nobody else around in the evening when it's dark. And so we called the car rental place because the insurance allowed us to have a tow truck come and tow us out. It was included. So we called the dispatcher. They said that they would send a tow truck out, but it would be about an hour and a half. And in the meantime, we were thinking, well, if anybody comes by, we're going to ask for help. So not long after that, a police car just over on the highway, which was maybe just 300 or 400 feet away parallel to the beach, went by with its lights on. And they routinely leave their lights on when they're cruising around and checking things out. We flashed the lights of the car. I jumped up and down. I'm waving. I turned the lights on and off. I flashed them high, bright, and low. And do you think that the police car would come in and down the road to the beach where we were? No. Okay, first thing. Second thing, another police car, whether it was the same one, drove back the other way. Same thing. Jumping up and down in front of the car lights, shining the bright, shining the low, turning them on and turning them off, honking the horn, yelling and screaming to get his attention. We really thought if we can get him to call a tow truck locally somewhere nearby, then we can be out of there in no time. Number 3, all of a sudden, we saw a police car coming down the road to us from the highway. Great. He sees us. And as he's coming down, it's still dark. We continue to flash the lights, jump up and down, lights on, lights off, high, low, honk the horn. He came, as he turned onto the little beach road, he came within 20 feet of us and drove right by us as if we were not even there, Dave. We have it all documented on film. This is real. It's documented on film. You're going to see it in one of our shows or the documentary. I'm not sure which. All the stuff on YouTube are the scraps, the stuff that falls on the floor. People say, why aren't there more sightings? Why aren't there more this? That's going to be in the top quality film that's being released through media, through, whether it's going to be Netflix, Discovery, History, or Sci-Fi Channel, or streaming or whatever. That's where the stuff will be released. But nevertheless, we got it, and we were dumbfounded, absolutely dumbfounded. We waited, and we saw a tow truck come along the highway. There's our tow truck. Once again, it's dark. We're over on the beach. He's over on the highway, a few hundred feet away. Flash the lights, do the whole 9 yards. He drove on the highway right past us. way down the highway. So we get on the phone again to the lady at the car rental, the dispatcher. We said, we think the tow truck driver has just gone by us. She said, well, hold on. I will call his cell phone and give him more specific directions. I said, we're right out from the power plant. Now, coincidentally, there's a power plant right across from the beach on the other side of the highway. That's another story. Anyway, she comes back on the phone and she said, that's not your tow truck. Okay. So we waited, and finally our real tow truck came. And as he was in sight on the highway, I flashed my lights. And the second I flashed him for the first time, he responded and came right over. What was that had happened to us with all the previous things? Okay, like the police. We learned from Sixto Pass Wells that you can have a phenomenon happen where it's almost like a one-way mirror, where you can see things, but people cannot see you. Okay, we had it happen to us. It was kind of like we were in another dimension running parallel somehow. The police officer did not see us. As he drove by, as I saw him in the car, he was just looking forward as if to completely ignore us. We said to ourselves, what do we have to do on a beach in South America to get a policeman's attention? Stab somebody? So it's not that he was ignoring us. He didn't see us. It's part of this phenomenon. Other experiencers have had that happen to them, where they're in some kind of an event where the people on the other side cannot see them, but they can see those people, or vice versa. It could happen where you cannot see them, but they can see you. So we had it happen. It's real. It's going to be in our material. We got the whole thing on video. We taped the entire thing. And that's just one of a number of things that happened that night.
Rob, do you believe, out of the filming that you have done of anomalous craft in the sky, that we are dealing with alien technology, or are we dealing with human technology that we just haven't seen yet?
You know, that's always the question. That was the same question I asked myself when I saw that thing, that object in the sky back in 1966. Really, some of the things that are being exhibited, I highly doubt it's something that we have. I mean, I don't know for sure. Unless we could ask the people who are dealing with this, you know, how do we know for sure? I suspect that it's not us, but I really can't answer that question at this time, because to answer truthfully, I'd have to get more information. I'd have to, you know, get right in there to the people that would know about this. So I honestly don't know. I suspect that it's advanced intelligence of some kind.
How about you, Dan?
I think that a lot of the sightings that people talk about, like Rob just did from the 50s, and you know, I mean, when did we create a microwave? I don't know the answer to that question. The 70s, the 80s, back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, I don't think we had squat that would be anything identifiable in the sky that could be questionable. Today, yeah, it scares me. Anything we see in the sky these days, the answer to your question is, I think there's a whole lot of things these days that could be anything that are man-made. Like Rob always says, we have to anything and everything that we see has to, go through the gamut of questions, and it has to be, we have to make sure that what we see is real, and only 5% of all of the things that people see in the sky that they think is ET is not. So these days now, in the 2000s, 90s, whatever, I think we're seeing a whole lot of things that are made by then.
I know that if you follow what Greer says, if you follow what Dr. Greer says, and I've been on 2 of his expeditions, he says, once again, I can only repeat what he said. I don't know if it's true or not. He said if it's man-made, it's got rivets. If it's not man-made, it's seamless on anything that we might get close to.
I would agree with that. Somehow I don't see these UFOs being made in some alien factory where they're drilling rivets into the seams. I just don't see that. I really don't. The big issue that we have here is trying to figure out what is alien and what is not. And this goes back to a statement that
that's
former
the big
Lockheed's
problem these days, Dave.
Yeah.
What is real, what is ET, and what is not.
And it goes back to a statement Ben Rich made back in 1992, the former head of Lockheed Skunk Works, where he stated basically, and I'm probably saying this verbatim, not saying this verbatim, pardon me, is that we've already got the technology to get ET home again. And then in a different statement, he said we are already 80 years ahead of where the public sees us. So when you add in those, and if he said that 28 years ago, we are looking at something very, very phenomenal if we are starting to see technology 80 years into the future up in the skies tonight.
Dave, I would tend to agree with that, but, it's even bigger than that. For example, you go to these expeditions and these different groups and that, and everybody's with their chairs, with their gravity chairs looking up. Something happens around you, and everybody's like, oh, no, don't pay attention to that. Look up in the sky. The truth is, there's even more things that happen around you than what's up in the sky. We've got so many things documented, and once again, it's almost like that, father trying to, he's tiny and he's pushing that great big book out of the bookcase onto the floor. It's almost like this other intelligence is saying to us, look, stop looking at the skies. Stop trying to look for metallic craft or look for this or that. It's all around you.
Looking around you.
Like, we've got a case where we went on an expedition and Liz had to pay her rent while we were gone, and she asked her ex-husband to go into her house, take care of the check out of the book, and give it to the landlord. He gave it to the landlord. He goes into her house because, they have 2 sons that they share, and, of course, now that they're not married, they get along just fine. But that check was given to the landlord, who took it to the bank, and the bank stamped their black ink wet stamp on the back with their number. The teller initialed it and also wrote the account number of the landlord on there. Okay, we have a copy of that, and yet when we got back and Liz went to her home and looked at the checkbook because she had to pay other bills, what was still in the checkbook? The actual check that she wrote. Now, it's the same number. We've had handwriting experts, forensic handwriting experts, look at the one that went through the bank and the one that's still in her book. They've made copies, held it up to the window, flipped them around, held them up to the window. It's exactly the same check. They said it's impossible that a person could write a second check that would match the first. Not only that, it's the same check number, And as she gets her checks, they're ordered sequentially. There's no reason why she would write a second check. There's no reason why it would even be on, it would have the same check number. So we've had a phenomenon happen here, which has caused to be split. And that's not the only one. We've had a second episode of that. We've got it all documented on film. People have to look around themselves. There's many things like this that happen every day, and people just write it off as saying, oh, I wasn't paying attention, or it was a mistake or something. No, it's not a mistake. No, you were paying attention. There's anomalous stuff that happens every day, everywhere, to almost every person. Yet we're in this mass denial because we've been educated and taught and trained to believe that if anything happens out of this set of things, you're crazy, you're local, you're going to be made fun of, so you don't say anything to anybody. But we, in our quest to find the truth, have, one, either stumbled across it, or two, it's being given to us. It's almost like somebody else is throwing down breadcrumbs for us to follow. The number of things we've had happen is absolutely incredible. In the field, our cameras will all go dead at exactly the same second. All the cameras were fully charged. The batteries were 100%. Then the next second, they're all dead. Cell phones included. Everything's dead. And then, sometimes moments later or 5 minutes later, everything comes back online. Are we living in a matrix? Who the heck knows? All I know is what we're experiencing, and we're documenting it. And we're trying to understand it. We hope that we could get involved with scientists, scientists who have been to the big universities. I met a scientist at a recent conference who specializes in some of this stuff. I tried to tell him the story of the check, and he looked at me like I was crazy. I showed him the proof. I showed him the copies. We are so brainwashed and so trained to only believe what we've been told to believe. I tell people to just open their mind. Open their mind. The mind is like a parachute. Right. It only works when it's open. And, many of us, even in the UFO field, minds are completely closed. Like there's so much more things to this phenomenon than just looking up in the sky. That gets you started. Gets you started.
Rob, I want to say thank you to you and Dan coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. We got about 25 seconds left before we got to say good night to you. Do me a favor. Take the time here to tell everybody where they can find your research, your videos, everything to do with what you're doing in ufology.
Okay, so first of all, that Squamish orb, all they got to do is go Rod Freeman Squamish orb, and they'll find it. We've just renamed my YouTube channel. It used to be called Rod Freeman Atmospheric Anomalies. There's way more to this phenomenon that we've discovered. So atmospheric anomalies limits what we're discovering and going after. We've just renamed it Rod Freeman UFO World Explorer. So that's how you can find it on YouTube.
Thank you, Rob and Dan Berg. Thank you for hopping on Spaced Out Radio. Coming up next, we have the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at mightymoosebeard.com today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
A little bit of science, a little bit of skepticism. Add a dash of snark and you have the makings of Spaced Out Sundays with me, Everett Freeman. Together we will look into the reality of the paranormal with an open eye and rational thought. Oh, did I mention there'll be plenty of woo as well? Your time spent with Spaced Out Sundays will make the night even better. The chat rooms are open, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/spacedoutradio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com. At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott. Cracking up on Marty on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio, posting, ever wonder where they get their moose oil beard from? From moose who have beards. And he posts a gif of a moose with, I don't know what the hell it is under its neck. It looks like a really bad neck job for a beard, but it's still funny nonetheless. Thank you for posting that, Marty. Really appreciate it. Hey, I want to remind all of you, if you've missed most of this show or others, you can always go to our free YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Speaking of the news, let's get to it, shall we? The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, those head scratchers, and a little bit of breaking stories every now and again, starting off in Rachel, Nevada, where apparently alien stock has been canceled. Yeah, we were just, let me see here. Today's the 10th. We're 10 days away from storming Area 51 and alien stock. It's hybrid. Well, apparently it is no more. The alien stock event in Rachel just became Firefest 2.0, as we had predicted, they are saying. The creator of the Storm Area 51 movement pulled out because he feels the event is not safe, that is, and lacks organization. With just over 10 days to go, no preparations have been made, and the signed bands will play in Las Vegas instead. If any event still happens, it is going to be a pretty sad affair with no bands, very little infrastructure, and lots of unhappy campers. Instead of coming out to Rachel to storm Area 51, why not follow the alien stock organizers and join the party at the Area 51 celebration now scheduled for Las Vegas? Very interesting. Somehow you knew this was going to get shut down. You really did know. I think all of us were pulling for it. None of us wanted to see that anybody, and let's face it, there were over 2.2 million people who said they were going. We all knew at the beginning it would turn out to be like maybe 1,000 people at most, with about 15 idiots out there trying to actually breach the gate of Area 51. And now it's nothing. But for those people who had their airplanes tickets packed or booked and their bags packed, probably going to be one rip-roaring tear in Vegas, that's for sure. That's what Sin City is for. So you can check that on out. Farmers in the UK are trying to make less flatulent livestock, especially cows. The farm union NFU has launched a plan to make British agriculture carbon neutral in 2 decades. Farming creates 10% of the UK's emissions, and farmers have long been criticized for their failure to tackle their pollution. But the NFU says the industry can reduce gases almost by 2040 completely, a decade ahead of the government's overall zero emissions target. Environmentalists welcome the elements of the plan, but Friends of the Earth said it was astonished there was no mention of eating less meat. Oh, the vegans always got to get in there, don't they? The NFU says its 3-part roadmap will produce quality, affordable food while tackling emissions. It rests on improving productivity, increasing the number of trees and hedges, and growing more crops for energy. The union says farmers can cut direct pollution from farming by working smarter to deliver the same value with fewer emissions. That would mean applying farm chemicals more precisely using satellite technology. Where the hell is a farmer going to be able to afford satellite technology? A tractor is $300,000 these days, people. Anyways, it would also see farmers capturing methane from manure to heat people's homes. That's right, I want my house to smell like cow crap. It's bad enough I lived in an area where there was a pig farm, not the deadly one, the other deadly one, the real animals. Anyways, that was horrid when the crops were being sprayed with manure. Horrid. Now I'm supposed to put it in my house and heat my house with cow poop? Another idea would be to change the diets of sheep and cattle so they don't belch so much methane. Farmers could also introduce a wider variety of plant species to pastures as well. I don't even think they know what they're talking about. They're just throwing out a bunch of examples of what could happen, creating more problems. What's the next one? Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. I don't even know if I want to do any more on that one. I really don't. All right, let's move on. I've made a decision there. Made the heavy decision. Chicago worshippers flocked to a century-old Greek Orthodox church that is facing foreclosure to see what some say is a sign from God after a caretaker witnessed what appeared to be tears streaming from the eyes of a painting of the Virgin Mary over the weekend. Reverend Friar Nicholas Jonas told the Chicago Tribune he was in his office at Chicago's Holy Trinity Greek Orthodox Church Sunday morning when a caretaker told him about the painting. Jonas said he investigated a place and placed cotton balls at the bottom of the painting to absorb an oil-like substance pouring from the eyes of the Virgin Mary. He posted a picture of the painting Sunday night that shows streaks of liquid residue coming from the Blessed Mother's eyes, which give the appearance that she is crying. I can't explain why she's tearing, but I do know as human beings we are usually crying for 2 reasons, either in joy or sorrow, Jonas said. The church is scheduled for bankruptcy hearing Tuesday. Following Jonas's social media post, many people visited the church to see the painting. More than 100 candles were lit, according to reports. Some worshippers viewed the phenomena as a sign of the coming miracle, indicating the church would be saved from foreclosure. How does that even work? Churches don't pay taxes. I realize they probably got hydro, cable, internet. How few people do you have to have? How would you like to be the bank that's got to foreclose on a church? That just seems sacrilegious. I mean, whether you're religious or not, that just seems sacrilegious. It's terrible. I couldn't do that. How would you like to be the guy who does that? Sorry, Reverend, I'm agnostic and I want your money. Money rules all, even the churches. A New York delivery driver who had access to a warehouse full of high-end cakes worth $90 each, that is accused of stealing them to resell for profit. David Linavigane is alleged to have stolen some $90,000 worth of Lady M confections cakes does a $90 cake taste like? Because, like, I'm a $20 ice cream cake from Dairy Queen. And that just satisfies a whole lot of me. A whole lot of me. $90 cake. Anyways, the company is famous for its signature Mill Crepes cake, popular with celebrities and on Instagram. Mr. Livigane is said to have stolen more than 1,000 of the pastries over a period of months. He pleaded guilty to petty larceny earlier this year and is due to be sentenced later this month, but a new civil lawsuit has been filed in New York by the patisserie owners. Yeah, according to the lawsuit, Mr. Livigane took the cakes from the company's freezers starting in November last year until February this year, and he sold them to other vendors. He was caught on surveillance camera taking the cakes on several occasions. The court papers read, the company learned of the scheme when it found out the crepe cakes were being resold at a discount. The lawsuit alleges it is seeking to recover the cost of missing cakes as well as damages. The coveted crepe cakes, which can be worth up to $90 a pop, are made of a stack of thin pancakes layered with cream. Oh, they do look good. They look real good. Real good. I don't think it's $90 good. Not that I'm a cheapie or cheapskate, whatever you want to call me. But that does look good. I'd still take the ice cream cake, though. Moving forward, a Florida school district is reminding patents? Since when do we call students patents? Let me restart this. A Florida school district is reminding patents to check their children's, parents. Parents is what they're trying to say. Okay. Third time's a charm. A Florida school district is reminding parents to check their children's backpacks before school after a student smuggled a bearded dragon into class. Yeah, the Bay County School District said the bearded dragon named Django was given a temporary home in a courier box until the student's parents could come take the pet home. The district said a backpack is not a good place for a bearded dragon to spend the day. His student owner didn't want him to be sat at home and alone all day, so she brought him to school for some company, the district said. School district asked parents to remind her to check backpacks in the morning before school. I'd like to see little SOR try and stuff one of our 80-pound dogs in his backpack. I'm sure nobody would notice. Not a soul. I may be tempted to get him to try that tomorrow. A Maryland theme park is going weird with one of these publicity stunts. They are challenging couples to spend 30 hours together in the 30-hour coffin challenge. Why does anybody want to spend time in a coffin? You have an eternity to do so when you die. Why is this part of something? Well, apparently the competition, part of Six Flags America's Fright Fest 2019, will see 6 couples of any sort, romantic pairs, family members, or friends, spending 30 hours in a coffin together from 4 p.m. on September 27th until 10 p.m. September 28th. The couples will be allowed to have a friend nearby during park hours, but they will be alone when the park is closed. That is, alone save for some Fright Fest ghouls who will be lurking about in the darkness. The participants will not be allowed to use their smartphones or other electronic devices except during designated break times. Anyone who gets out of their coffin for any reason, with the exception of designated bathroom and meal breaks, will be automatically disqualified and not eligible to win the contest, the park said. The couple remaining at the end of the 30-hour challenge will receive $600, a pair of 2020 Gold Season passes, and a Fright Fest prize package. Participants will potentially be exposed to fog, dramatic lighting, flash photography, and extreme weather conditions. Guess they're planning a hurricane for that day. Too soon? Sorry. Bygones. Registration deadline for the challenge is September 9th. Well, that was yesterday. Today's the 10th. Moving on. French authorities are working to declassify military files linked to a mysterious crash more than 50 years ago of an Air France plane that plunged into the Mediterranean just minutes before it was due to land, killing all 95 people on board. French President Emmanuel Macron pledged to open up the military records in a letter to the Association of Victims' Families as they prepare to mark the 51st anniversary of the disaster. Many relatives have long suspected the Caravelle en route from Ajaccio on the island of Corsica was downed by a missile on September 11th, 1968, during a French military exercise. The official version blamed a fire on board that prompted pilots to lose control. In March 2018, an investigating magistrate requested access to the secret files, saying the theory of an accidental missile launch needed to be taken very seriously. In a letter to Matteo Pioli, president of the Victims Association, which was seen by the AFP, Macron wrote that he understands your search to uncover the truth. In the letter, it added that he had asked Defense Minister Florence Parly to declassify the documents if necessary, and that the ministry was pursuing its research to identify documents that might be overlooked in previous investigations. That's kind of cool. Kind of cool that a government actually is doing that. Solving some of these top secret riddles. Could that happen here? I don't know. I know Marty loves this song. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages and read your responses on the air, because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. Oh, that's a good tune, eh? Cuterebra by Bumblefoot. That's the best place to get it. Do 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 do. All right, what makes great UFO evidence? Philly, if a UFO lands on your head. That would be. That's a good one. Marty, a bunch of little gray dudes with big eyes running around. Michelle, multiple people seeing, and many different people's photos and videos. That would be awesome. Tom Whitmore from MUFON. Crash saucer and bodies. Tom, we already got him. Already got him from Roswell, Kecksburg, San Augustine. They get covered up quickly. John, anything confirmed by 3 different groups, each using 3 different technologies or methods. Canadian Joe, you better be leaving your chair on Yonge Street, because the parade isn't happening for your Maple Leafs, and make it to the Alien Cosmic Expo next weekend. Not this weekend, coming up next weekend. You better be there. Well, he goes on to say, a shaky, unfocused camera. Wow. Went there. Absolutely. Mike, Foya Boy. The 5 observables as stated by Lou Elizondo. Chrisomania seconds it. He's running wild. Eating his vitamins, saying his prayers. About to get his flex on. Eric, when it has the TTSA seal of approval, hashtag just kidding. Steve, seriously, great question. I have no satisfactory answer. For those outside, a mass landing event. All right, let's move on. Dominic, an honest body language and a legal person. Mike, multiple credible witnesses. Taro, you better hit the Alien Cosmic Expo as well. You're out east there. Clear video or clear picture? All right, sounds legit. What are other people saying? Jim Mallard, the Duck. Mutual sources, clear, unedited. Paul, there has been tons of pictures and or videos, but to me, it would be great if there was just more physical evidence of the various events. Just me, but Dave, that would be cool. Chris, see you at Forest Moon Paracon in a couple weeks. 17 days today. I know Eric Cooper's getting excited. She says, I think for me, it would have to be who is presenting the evidence. It would have to be someone reputable to believe and the amount of evidence provided. Earl Gray, yeah, he likes a good cup of orange pico, says multiple witnesses is always nice to have. Multiple witnesses with a background in aviation, military, or police officers is a real good thing. Multiple witnesses as well as good video of the UFO along with digital photos. So you have the coordinates, time, EXIF data, whatever the hell that is. Physical evidence is a good thing too. William Pullen, we'll talk to him tomorrow night on Reality Paranormal. He says multiple witnesses who don't know each other in different geographical locations. Physical evidence of environmental changes. Instrumentally, such as radar traces, photographs, or videos. Although with today's technology, the vast majority of photo and video data turns out that it's either hoaxed or mundane. Captain Shirk, landing in a public place and the flight crew introducing themselves. She's hoping they all look like Rob Zombie because she is a fan. Pics, videos of burn spots on the ground, etc. are not reliable. Too many fraudsters out there. And I think we got time for one more. I'm just racing through. Let's see here. Let's go with Jade. Aliens don't want us to widely know their existence. Heck, I feel like that some days too. Thank you to everybody for participating in the Thought of the Day. We hope we got to read yours on the air. We'll do it all again tomorrow on Twitter and on Facebook. So thank you so much for hanging on out with us. Big thanks to Captain Shirk for getting our news together for the SOR Newswire, which can be found at spacedoutradio.com. And, of course, big thanks to Rob Freeman and Dan Berg. Rob and I will be speaking at Alien Cosmic Expo in Toronto, Ontario, the 20th to the 22nd. Would love to meet up with you. Get your tickets at aliencosmicexpo.com. We got Mr. Rob Bumblefoot Thaw rocking in the background with Little Brother Is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, in your cars, at work, in our chat rooms on the SOR Space Travelers Club on Facebook, Revolution Radio, Spreaker, hashtag Spaced Out Radio on Twitter, wherever you may be. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for sharing your evening with us. Guess what? We're going to do it all again tomorrow. Because together, my friends, say it with me, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. I know you're out there somewhere watching me. Oh, come on. You all sing it too. Have a good night. See you tomorrow.